Welcome to Smart Brown Voices, your weekly podcast featuring diverse voices from around the world, giving you insights on how others made it big in their respective fields. Now sit back, grab a notebook, and get ready to be inspired. And don't forget to use hashtag SmartBrownVoices to share insights, moments of wisdom, and things from the show that inspire you. And now, here's your host, social media nerd and technology activist, Mr. Mike Street.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your host, Mr. Mike Street. Happy Black History Month. This is February, if you're listening to this podcast. And, you know, we've been featuring some of our favorite podcasters, pretty much like we did last year with the 29 Days of Black Podcasting. So make sure you visit SmartBrownVoices.com and check out some of the podcasts that I'm featuring this month. We have my homegirl, who's also been a guest on the show, Laura, who just started her own podcast called The Reset Podcast. So make sure you listen to that. I'll be coming up in a future episode of The Reset Podcast. And we talked for like 2 hours. So it's a long episode. And we talked pretty much about everything because I just had a lot on my mind that day. So make sure to check that out. I'll make sure once that's live, we will post that on our page. But today, I'm introducing you to a new podcast that was recently introduced to me called Educated Hustle. And we have the host and the co-host on with us today. So guys, why don't you introduce yourself to the Smart Brown Voices audience?
Hey, once again, thanks, Mike, for having us on. My name is Paul Latibedaire, and my co-host, Emilio Porter.
Yes, how's it going, everybody? We appreciate you so much for putting us on, Mike.
No problem. Thank you guys for reaching out and sharing your show with me. You have like really awesome content. So give us a background of, what's your story? Like, how did you guys meet and how did you come up with the concept for Educated Hustle?
Oh, man. That's a tell olden time right there, Mike. Me and Paul have known each other since elementary school. And just to even add more insight of that, one of our cool features is we've been to the same elementary school, same middle school, same high school, same college, and damn near applied for the same job after college. So, we've done a lot of stuff together. But
that's awesome.
it really is a great experience. But I would say for this podcast, the way it started is, me and Paul, throughout our years, we've always been great at getting great reactions, talking to people. And we felt that we have this chemistry to where we can really get the most out of people that normally necessarily don't like to talk or, are kind of shy in front of mics. And we wanted to use that ability to make a podcast. And we so happen to be part of a bitch fraternity called Alpha Kappa Psi, got a rep. People in that fraternity are doing like all these great things. And then we would see on our Facebook feed and we realized that like it's being kept in such a small community. Like more people should know about what they're doing. So we wanted to start a podcast that actually brings that awareness. And the irony of that is, it became from doing, just our brothers, actually people that we never met before and strangers because they had such great ideas. And we've done more strangers than actual brothers. But that's kind of the inception of Educate Hustle, to bring that purpose along.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to add to that. We also want to develop some kind of positive media, some kind of focus on people who are doing positive things, who are going out, achieving their dreams. So that's how Educated Hustle was born. Me and Emilio just kind of brainstorming on what can we do to empower, ourselves as well as the people who are out here doing it big and making it their goals to achieve their dreams. So that's what Educated Hustle is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you pick the medium of podcasting to spread your message?
I mean, for me, I love podcasts. I can barely walk around without listening to a podcast. So every kind of moment in my day, I'm listening to a podcast. I know podcasting is becoming a huge medium to where people can produce and project their values. So I kind of brought that idea to Emilio, and we both thought that it was a great medium to reach the audience. It allows us to produce freely as well. It could just be me and him brainstorming. It doesn't take much to get into, but it's so powerful if it could break barriers that are that were once available before. It could just break into new, areas that we couldn't do before. So podcasting just allows you to produce freely.
Yes, and then to add on to that too, we live in different states, so this is probably one of the easiest methods of actually us collaborating on something together. We were discussing doing a podcast, months before we even kind of got the ball rolling, and we found out that just with the entertainment aspect, the excitement of the whole medium, that it was the way to go. And for people like me and Paul, where I'm in Orlando, he's in Michigan, it just helps us out tremendously that we're able to connect and not to say give the illusion, but appear as if we're in the same room and still give a great show.
Nice. So give us a little bit of the flavor of some of the guests that you guys have had on over the course of your 39 episodes.
Oh man, we've had authors, we've had people who started their own business. We have a mesh pot of people who really come and do a lot of great things. I would say some of the more memorable guests are the people who have come from the story of they were really working their 9 to 5 and they just realized like that is not where they want to be. One in particular that really stood out to me was we have I guess Jasmine Thomas. She went to college with us, but she's also going to medical school down south in Miami. And she's trying to be a doctor, but she has such a genuine approach to it to where she's really about helping people. And I think with doctors, everyone gets tied up into medical bills and you got to pay them and they're charging you all this money. I know I'm currently doing that. But with her, she really expresses how like she wants to help out people. And she's worldly. She's traveled to Africa. She's been in those villages and community and interacted and given back and really seen life at its purest form, where you take away all the materialistic things and it just becomes, how are you and me going to help make it to the next day? And her episode is just powerful because you really get that sense that there's hope in the future professions. Like her being a doctor really makes me want to look into other doctors and realize, who's really out here trying to bring a helping hand rather than say, let me just get your money.
Yes, sir. And then another great highlight episode is one we actually did recently. We interviewed a dancer who sacrificed all her life savings to start this dance studio. And she believed that she needed to create it because people of color needed a safe space so that they can create and dance and do things freely without being judged, because the dancing community is often judged by, height, weight. That often provides barriers to entry. So she created this dance studio for people of color to celebrate their heritage. And she just recently started a new season of dancing just recently. So she came on the show and blessed us with that. So every week or every week that we interview somebody, we get a powerful story, whether it be dancing, doctor, someone who started their own business, to tell to the world. And we really love the guests that we have on.
Awesome. I love it because it's also, very similar to the mission of why we started the Smart Brown Voices 2 years ago. Was, I was traveling around the country, meeting all these amazing, fascinating people like Morgan from Blavity and Van Jones and everyone out there, but a lot of them just weren't, even those people that we know them well, they're still not getting a lot of media attention like they deserve, especially from a business perspective. And also when you look through iTunes and look in the business section, you really only see a handful of brown people. And I feel like our voices, especially when it comes to our insights into business and finance and all of those things is really important. So that's why I started this show, because I wanted to make sure that our perspectives were being, voiced and heard. And also, if you hear a cat in the background, that's our producer. He's running the mixing board for us today because he always likes to jump on the podcast when I'm recording. So, guys, so you guys live in 2 different states. Tell us about like some of the inner workings of your podcast. Like, where did you even come up with the name Educated Hustle?
Oh man, that was an interesting story. So we had several name revisions that me and Paul thought of, and Educate or Hustle is actually we had several name revisions, as I said. The word educator was in one, the word hustle was in one, and I at the time that I forget what they all were, but we were just basically asking people, hey, which name for a podcast sounds good? And we have a guru. He Randall Williams. He has his own podcast, Brunch Culture, something you should definitely check out if you have the time. Great show there. I remember I presented him the name choices, and he's told me, hey, like, I really like Educate or Hustle if you take these two words from these choices. And me and Paul had never thought about it, but as soon as he said it, the light bulb kind of went off, and I was like, oh, you know what, that does sound good. And I presented to Paul, and we went to our little lab of our notes and stuff, and we realized that's the name we have to go because it rings off the tongue so well.
Yeah, and I believe the two choices were Educated Dividends and Hustle Forward.
Something like that.
Those are the two that we combined together to make Educated Hustling. And I agree. Like, we kind of talk to people all the time, and they're like, "Yo, we love the name of the show." So at least we know we have a strong brand.
Awesome. So how do you guys market your podcast? I know a lot of our listeners out there, they're looking to, start their own podcast. A lot of you guys have been hitting me up on email asking me like who edits the show and, just various inner workings of like doing this podcast. So give us some insights into your process. Like, how do you guys market and spread the message of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, most definitely. We definitely do a lot of social media marketing, and we use our own apps to create our content. So we both use Canva, which is a website that allows you to develop your own pictures, create your own messaging, and then also an app called Word Swag. It helps you develop different quotes, different posts that you can post to Instagram, Twitter, and just interact with different folks on these social medias. I think is a big key into our marketing.
Yes, and to add on to that, to add more abundance, like interacting. I think people are scared to talk to people, but you really shouldn't when it comes to a podcast. Like, we've gotten so many guests just off hitting people up on Twitter, which I think if you're a podcasting person, in my opinion, Twitter is so vital because it's that direct access and you're in like a smorgasbord of just topics. But we've gotten so many guests just off going up the phone on Twitter and saying, hey, we have this podcast called Educate or Hustle. We really think it's going to fit with what you do. Can you come on? And like, it really gets us to a lot of opportunities because, we're at 39 episodes, but me and Paul can tell you, like, when we started last year in May, we had no idea how long we could really keep this thing going because obviously you need a new guest every week. And it's hard to envision like you can get all these guests. And it's just been amazing, the opportunities that we've had just through hitting people up on Twitter. And then we always leave our email address on every show. And we've gotten emails from people that we haven't known that say, hey, I like the show. Can I be on? It's a beautiful thing. But that's probably the best way of marketing is to go on Twitter and actually interact and talk to people because you can get so many opportunities and hits just through that.
Yeah. So, for our audience, that's a key message. Like, make sure you're out there networking and building bridges and making connections. And, especially if you're looking for press and PR, don't be afraid to reach out. The podcasting world, like, you may be surprised, but most of us are mom and pop shops running it on bare bones money. So usually if you email us, you can probably get on the show as long as you have an interesting story. You know, so make sure you just, you send a good pitch. And
I love Mike because as soon as we sent the pitch to Mike, he was just like, I'm down, just instant. You know what I'm saying? So it was amazing to see like your quick feedback to our show. So shout out to you, man. I appreciate us again being on the show.
Yeah, I love podcasting. It's been a kind of a game changer for me. Especially I have to always give praises to the lords of iTunes for featuring us on the we're up on the page now for their Black History Month stuff. So it's definitely for everything that you're trying to get out. It can be a game changer for you because it also gives people like a personal connection to who you are and what you do. And, and secrets be told, I've made some nice money from the podcast from people hiring me from consulting jobs because they listened to this podcast and it was like, oh, let's hire Mike to do our social media or work on this campaign. So, it's been a blessing.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And I think to answer the second part, I know you brought up editing. Editing can be daunting. It really can be. I edit all of our episodes, and I mean, we use a program called Audacity, and it's a basic program. And everyone in podcasting, they might have started with that or they heard of it, but that to me, it helps me out because it's really at that point just sitting down, listening, and trying to get the nuances that you want to take out and make your show better. I'm not going to get too thorough into the technological stuff, but everything I learned to do on Audacity, I went on YouTube and found out.
Yes.
I will say a gem that that definitely helps us out that a lot of people don't know. There's a program called Akuphonic, AUPHONIC. I might be saying that terribly wrong, so don't at me if I am. But that's it's a service that what you do is you put your finished podcast file in. Usually in WAV format, and it'll go through and it'll refine it and put some details up for you. And the best part about it is it's free. You get every month you get 2 hours of time that you can use to ed, and if you run out of those 2 hours, you just make another email. But it really helps us out a lot because I think it really adds the smooth and finer touch to our show. A lot of people always think that me and Paul are like in some studio somewhere with the mixer board and the DJ in the background playing, but it's like we're at home. He's in his apartment. I'm in my house. I'm looking out the window right now at some grass and some scenery. So not the high tech setup that most people imagine, but we still come out great, which is the best thing about it. Yes,
definitely. I use I just don't have the time or the patience to edit anything anymore. So I spend $10 to get my my podcast episodes edited. So I go on Fiverr. I found like a nice dude who's on there, and he edits all of my podcasts, and he does them pretty quickly. I usually can send him one. If I send him one at 10 a.m., he'll usually have it back to me within 3 or 4 hours, ready to go. So it's a blessing because I just don't have enough time to sit and listen to the show.
Edit. Yeah,
plus I hate listening to my voice.
Oh, man. We got to get like you, man. Get to that system.
I feel like listening to your voice is so like we're in the process of re-listening to all our episodes and trying to make a compilation project coming out pretty soon. Right. And every time I listen to my voice, I cringe so badly. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm my biggest critic, but I'm just like, man, I could have said that a lot better looking back at it. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to as you do it, you have to just get over the sound of your voice and just go with it. And, now I'm trying to do all this video stuff, so that's going to be the next thing. It's like I have to look at myself on camera.
That's going to be hard. I got over my voice, but the camera, that would be definitely hard.
So, guys, thank you guys so much for coming on this show. Your show is amazing. We're definitely going to make sure that everyone can check out all the episodes. You guys, so tell everyone how they can find you across the internet.
Okay. I mean, we can be found through a lot of various social media trends. If you want to link up with us on Snapchat, you just got to follow Educate Hustle. That's all one word. We also are on Instagram at Educate Hustle Podcast. Once again, that's Educate Hustle Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter. That's one of the surefire ways to get to us. We're at educated_hustle. That's educated_hustle. And then we really urge people. I mean, I know Mike's been blessed, but if you listen to our show, please leave us a review on iTunes, especially because, as Mike can attest to, it helps you out so much. And, that might be the first step in getting us up on the iTunes page for Black History content. And last but never least, of course, I want to say that if you want to email me and Paul, you can do so at educatehustlepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is educatehustlepodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. So that's it, guys. That's another episode of Smart Brown Voices. Please support other, Black, Latino, diverse, LGBT, all the other podcasts that are out there in this universe, because there's a plethora of really great content from an audio perspective that you can check out. And I'll be sharing more of that out throughout Black History Month. And pretty much if you visit me on Twitter, you'll always see me tweeting about everyone else's podcast. So, make sure you check it out. If you really want to be in this podcasting space, make sure you're building a network, make sure you're building a community, make sure you're engaging with other podcasters, because it's really going to help you in the long run. And really think long term, because, starting a podcast on Monday and being done with it on Friday is not a vision. You have to be like, I'm going to do this for the next 5 years, because it's important. And I've been doing this for 2 years, and I've already been able to see great returns from it. So just continue forth with all of your content efforts, and it will definitely pay off. All right, guys. So please use us a review, all of those good things, and we'll check you back next time.
Thanks for listening to Smart Brown Voices with your host, Mr. Mike Street. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends and colleagues. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts, and make sure to follow us on social media. This has been a Mr. Mike Street production. Join us next time for another edition of Smart Brown Voices, and be inspired.